Here to discuss the top stories of the day is Nick Cater, senior columnist with the Australian newspapers. Nick, let's start with The Voice today. The Prime Minister implored Australians to rise to the occasion and be more like corporates and sporting bodies like the NRL and AFL and back The Voice.
This debate is too important for that politicisation. And people, I think, have to rise to the occasion. My government intends to rise to the occasion. I think that business has risen to the occasion. Faith groups have risen to the occasion. The NRL, AFL, Cricket Australia, Tennis Australia and other sporting organisations have risen to the occasion. And can I pay tribute to people like Julie and Lisa, who has risen to the occasion?
Oh, geez, Julie and Lisa, thank you. How do you think that message will resonate with our countrymen and women, that we should rise to the occasion like the corporates and the AFL?
Rise, yeah. We should do what the corporates tell us. We should do what the sporting bodies tell us. It's Albanese who's got to rise to the occasion by actually telling us what's in this thing, what it's going to do. Tell us, for instance, how many people are going to be on it, what they're going to be paid, all these sort of minor details people would like to know, because the problem at the moment, if he's not defining what it is, he's allowing other people to do that for him.
Well, the more we find out about it, the more I think the no vote strengthens. And this is another example. One self-described militant who worked on the Prime Minister's referendum working group, Thomas Mayo, has said The Voice will be used as a campaign tool to punish politicians, abolish colonialist institutions, and pay the rent, pay reparations and pay compensation. Mayo went on to say, there is nothing that we can do that is more powerful than building a First Nations voice, a black institution, a black political force to be reckoned with. That doesn't sound like a voice that will just give advice, Nick. I don't know.
It's not the modest proposal that Anthony Albanese tried to tell us it was, is it? It's turned into a money-grubbing power trip for these people like Thomas Mayo. And I want to know, I mean, how are we going to work out who pays the reparations to who? Presumably it's white people to black people, but, you know, what about Lydia Thorpe, for instance? I mean, she's partly Anglo Irish, so is she going to have to pay reparations to herself, or how does this work? I don't know.
Well, yeah, how do we establish that? I mean, that is just another sort of ugly question where you're getting into people's ethnicity and family trees and how Indigenous are you compared to someone else. I mean, really, do we want to be obsessing about things that people have zero control over? Yeah. Was that about, you know, contents of your character, not the colour of your skin?
Yeah, and don't forget the Queensland government's already considering reparations as part of signing treaties with 150 Aboriginal groups. So, you know, the reparations is the logical next step once you've had your truth-telling And
we've got a big migrant community in this country, and I can tell you, I would doubt very much if the majority of them want to sign up to this sort of... They don't suffer from the white guilt that some Australians suffer from. So, yeah, I think we should be seeking their opinions as well. Now, Australian authorities are using world-first legal powers to take on what they call hate speech on Twitter. Australia's E-Safety Commissioner, Julie Inman-Grant, has again got attention worldwide for her illiberal comments, this time about her former employer, Twitter. And this time the Sydney Morning Herald got a bollocking too, with reporter Jordan Baker called out for falsely describing journalist and author Andy Ngo, a gay son of refugees who was bashed by Antifa. Well, he was described as some sort of a far-right influencer who had once been banned from the platform. Ngo tweeted this to the journalist, Jordan Baker: I was never reinstated by Twitter following Musk's takeover because my account had never been removed before. This is despite all the efforts by Antifa and far-left extremists to manipulate the platform with fake reports on my posts. You did not reach out for comment and have written misinformation. You're a chief reporter. You made such juvenile mistakes. Ouch, Nick, that's quite a takedown there. But the suggestions this attack against Twitter and pressure on other social media platforms to censor speech, Well, really, is it a response to the Voice and the criticism the Voice is getting and the opposition it's getting on social media platforms?
And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think this is why we set an e-safety commissioner up, did we? I mean,
No, it's to stop kids being bullied.
yeah, to
That's
stop
how it was sold
paedophile
to me.
rings and porn going to children on the internet. She should stick to her day job. You know, e-safety. I wonder what the E stands for. It might be evil, perhaps. But I really do not want an appointed official going around determining these decisions, and the government needs to look very carefully at the job they've given her and put her into line.
Well, some of the comments she has made previously, I think it was at the World Economic Forum, certainly raised a few eyebrows. Now, let's go to the story that has fascinated the world and sadly ended in tragedy. Today, debris from the Titan sub was found after a catastrophic implosion of the vessel, so all on board perish. Nick, we are learning more about this expedition and those on board, including revelations that the teenager on the vessel was terrified of the trip, but decided to go along to make his father happy. And Nick, there's an old interview circulating of the CEO of Ocean Gate saying he wanted to hire inspirational people, not 50-year-old white guys. Have a listen.
And there are other sub-operators out there, but they typically have gentlemen who are ex-military submariners, and you'll see a whole bunch of 50-year-old white guys. I wanted our team to be younger, to be inspirational, and I'm not going to inspire a 16-year-old to go pursue marine technology. But a 25-year-old, who's a sub-pilot or a platform operator, one of our techs, can be inspirational. And so,
I guess 50-year-old white guys can't be inspirational in 2023, but what happened to meritocracy? So surely for something like this, or anything really, you hire the best person for the job.
You hire the best person for the job. And look, this is where they do need a safety commissioner, by the way. I think to manage this sort of operation, it seems to have been fairly lax. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? When you get in an aircraft, for instance, you don't want somebody, you don't want the diversity candidate. You want somebody who can fly a plane.
Well, the airlines in America actually are focusing on diversity even in that field with airline pilots, because they're overwhelmingly white and male. Now, in a moment, I'll be speaking to Douglas Murray about a bizarre case in the UK where a teacher bullied students who refused to respect a classmate identifying as a cat. But here in Australia, Sea Life Aquarium is collaborating with New South Wales Teachers Federation to use its gay penguins as a teaching tool for kindergartners to learn about same-sex relationship. Really, do we need kindergartners to be told what people do in their bedrooms? Is that really a huge priority?
Absolutely, we don't. And this is where you've got to respect Ron DeSantis and the legislation he introduced into Florida to stop this kind of teaching K to 3. I think even 3, class 3 is probably getting a bit early. Kids are just not thinking about these things. They've got other thoughts about penguins and what have you.
Well, yeah, there is so much they could be learning, and leave this to the family, for the love of God. Nick Cater, thank you so much for joining me.